Hey there, fellow wanderers. As you stand before the looming castle gates, the sky above hangs heavy and grey, melting effortlessly into ancient towers of stone. A crisp chill bites at your cheeks. The air smells of damp earth and curling wood smoke, tinged with the unmistakable musk of livestock. It's as if the past breathes softly here, whispering secrets just beyond the threshold. This is no fairy tale. This is a place shaped by clashing steel, whispered intrigues, and the weight of generations that passed through before you. The world hums around you, the steady clang of a blacksmith's hammer, the murmur of traders at market stalls, the sharp caw of a crow punctuating the din of everyday life. And as you step beneath the arched gateway built to awe, to intimidate, to remind you of your place, you walk on cobblestones, worn smooth by centuries of feet. So, before we go further into the Great Hall of History, I ask only this. If this kind of raw, unvarnished truth speaks to you, click like, hit subscribe, and leave a trace of yourself in the comments. Tell me your city, your time, your state of mind. Now, dim the lights. Let the hum of your fan blend with the wind of centuries past. Let's begin. And remember, in medieval times, even survival was a luxury. Your entrance is announced by the groan of the hefty wooden door, so thick and robust that their weight seems to hold centuries of stories. As you step inside, the chill is succeeded by a slightly musty warmth, dust-choked beams layered with the odor of sweat, leather, and iron. This is a world unto itself, designed both to protect and impress, and you are merely its latest guest. Like a hardy medieval welcome mat, the courtyard sprawls ahead, a nexus of activity for castle life. People of all stations mingle here, their lives as intertwined as the tendrils of climbing ivy on the stone walls. In the horses' whinnies and the shouts of stable boys trying to maintain control, you can almost hear the whispers of history. Every nook and cranny tells a tale. Every narrowly cast shadow on these pitted stones holds 1,000 unspoken secrets. You wouldn't believe the variety of folk that converge here, from the emphatic gesticulations of merchants pushing their carts to knights clad in polished armor, standing tall with an air of effortless authority. It's as lively as it gets, a snapshot of medieval diversity under one roofer open sky, as it were. This hub of life is more than just a gathering place. It's a site of transactions, not all of them in goods and currency. Much like the bustling marketplace of the Middle Ages, negotiations here often revolve around information, alliances, and promises. Silent understandings pass between individuals just as often as the exchange of a dove or carved token. You might be reminded of a modern shopping mall, but with more armor and fewer food courts. Despite the tangible energy, it's not all smiles and friendly waves across the courtyard. Behind those towering stone walls lies a complex world of politics, survival, and intrigue. The castle itself is an era brought to life, showcasing how power is as delicate as the tapestries that hang above the great hall. As the castle gates creak close once more, you find yourself both inside a formidable fortress and a vibrant community, where lives are as interconnected as the roots beneath the ancient oaks. Historians still argue whether the primary purpose of medieval castles was offensive or defensive, but one thing is clear. These structures are works of art and engineering, painstakingly designed to demonstrate might and majesty. It's easy to romanticize the notion of gallant knights and damsels, but reality paints a starkly different picture. Castles were also places of work, where life's challenges remained untransformed by the stone's grandeur surrounding them. That image of a medieval fortress with a fairy tale turret? It's more a reminder of human endurance than of a knight's valor. Each stone laid bears testament to grit, toil, and occasionally outright deceit. And as your footsteps echo across the uneven ground, remember, this castle, like life itself, is a patchwork of the grand and the grim, all bound together beneath the same sky. And there you stand, ready to delve further into this world, where the past isn't polished but presents itself as raw and unfiltered, waiting to envelop you completely. Feel the cold seeping into your bones? That's not a chill from the past, it's just medieval central heating. So, with your senses heightened, your imagination sparked, and just a bit of dust sticking to your shoes, you're ready to venture deeper into this labyrinth of history and mystery. Every part of a castle tells a story, and here, You're just getting started with the first whispers of what lies within. Your senses are now fully alert as you step into the heartbeat of the castle, its bustling courtyard. It's alive, teeming with an array of sights, sounds, and aromas that together create the essence of medieval life. The air here is a mixture of raw odors, from the pungent scent of animals to the sweeter, earthy aroma of fresh produce being hawked by animated traders. You pause for a moment to observe the vivid tableau unfolding before you. Picture this: livestock bleating and clucking in rudimentary enclosures, burly men carrying sacks of grain, their groans mingling with the chorus of life surrounding them, women in simple tunics, wisely haggling over the price of root vegetables or cloth. This courtyard is like a world in a snow globe, self-contained yet momentarily frozen in time, each moment captured with perfect clarity before it melts into the next. Through all this, the castle's heartbeat thuds steady, unaffected by the pandemonium above. You notice that life's basic activities swirl around the courtyard, like wind around a mountain peak. Here, tradesmen apply their crafts, each with their hidden hierarchies and age-old traditions. A smith's rhythmic hammer clinks generously from one corner, forging both necessity and the occasional luxury. His face is weathered and streaked with soot, his arms as hard and resilient as any piece of iron he shapes. Not far off, the baker tends to his oven, an expert at nurturing both dough and warmth to perfection. The smell of fresh bread wafts toward you, sparking hunger as primordial as the castle stones themselves. Oddly enough, wherever you find bakers, you often find tension rising, not just from battlements, but from loaves. It's as though this staple of life encapsulates all the daily uncertainties of a world built on feudal foundations. Suddenly, a cart wheels by, heaped high with pungent cheeses and baskets of eggs that rattle slightly with each pothole the cart encounters. In its wake, a group of children dash past, their peals of laughter chasing one another through the throng. You glimpse fragments of a simple game played with a ball made from stitched rags, their playfulness reminiscent of the joyous chaos of every growing city and town, regardless of century or epoch. Adults, on the other hand, wear expressions etched, both by routine and underlying worry, the necessities of medieval life poised precariously like the stones over their heads. To support the lordly few who live above, the common folk labour relentlessly with little respite, their toil a reminder of the twisting hierarchy entrenched within every wall. Yet, there's a camaraderie here, shared understanding among the castle's residents that whispers through the chill wind across bristled skin. In unity and work, there's survival. Like an old friend, this knowledge is reassuring, a constant in a world where everything else is subject to the whims of power and nature. It's fascinating how, despite being centuries removed from your modern conveniences, the dynamics of the courtyard might remind you of today's own social melee. Perhaps swapping a castle's courtyard for a bustling city centre wouldn't look so alien to those medieval folk after all, minus the motor vehicles and smartphones, of course. Intriguingly, not all commerce is tangible here. Conversations flowing more surreptitiously from corner to corner imply alliances, unspoken pledges, and even breaks in trust. It's true what they say: secrets in medieval courts are as frequent as the clouds over England. Staring at a group of men pashed in hushed conversation, you ponder whether they scheme over whose daughter marries whom, or perhaps whisper of a distant rebellion brewing. Historians still argue about the depth of political intrigue present among the lower chambers of such social ecosystems, where the serfs and lords alike trafficked in the subtleties of influence. The courtyard, in its role as a social crucible, heats, refines, and sometimes fuses lives more surely than any forge of iron. As you allow these musings to drift away, an echo calls. Is it your imagination, or does it come from some spectral being overseeing this ancient tableau? Just a subtle nudge from this timeless space, suggesting perhaps that time here isn't so linear after all. Before you fully step out of the courtyard's enchanting embrace, absorb one more detail into your mind's eye. The way light struggles to penetrate the overcast sky, casting doubt, but also giving every stone and face an almost celestial glow. You've only just entered this vibrant, noisy microcosm, yet it already feels as if a day has passed. The stone arch framing the next entrance beckons, and behind it, the promissory, the certainty of discovering what intricate balancing act underpins a life just beyond the courtyard's worldly grasp. You depart, leaving behind the aromas of artisan toil and the dreamlike murmur of yesterday, today, and forever. You're ready to unravel the next layer of medieval existence, one step deeper into the castle's storied heart. As you continue your exploration, your path leads you to the quarters of a medieval knighter space filled with the silent promise of courage and danger. Here, within these stone walls, you encounter the wardrobe of a knight, which appears to be an arsenal of both protection and bravado. It's a portrait of medieval necessities that blends substance with stature. Before you is the centerpiece of a knight's ensemble, a suit of armor, standing silent and statuesque. With its polished metallic sheen, it clinks softly with each slight movement, as though whispering tales of battles won and lost. You can almost feel the weight of the metal on your own shoulders, the oppressive heft that knights bore as a veneer of invincibility in the chaotic melee of the battlefield. Yet, it's not just a shield. Armor is as much a statement as it is a safeguard, a medieval badge of honor worn with pride. The pieces are a marvel of craftsmanship, each created with painstaking care. Imagine the blacksmith hunched over his forge, heat singing his face as he meticulously forms the interlocking plates that would someday sit heavy on a knight's shoulders. Let's be honest, playing dress-up in this wasn't some quaint pastime. It was a matter of life and death. Historians still argue whether armor was more effective as a defensive technology or merely a deterrence. But either way, it remains a symbol of the era's martial spirit. Don't be mistaken, though. The armor isn't solely utilitarian. There's an art to it, with engravings and embellishments that distinguish one knight from another, subtly hinting at rank, family, and victories. Think of it as the ultimate medieval tailoring, a bespoke metal suit, where style meets survival. A heavier version of today's power suit, minus the boardroom. As you examine the pieces more closely, from the ornate gauntlets to the protective helm, you realize that being a knight was as much about appearances as it was about prowess. And beneath the steel, a layer of quilted fabric called a gambeson, lovingly padded to lessen a blow's impact and provide some semblance of comfort amid the burdensome armor. It's the medieval equivalent of a padded jacket, albeit one that sacrifices fashion for an uncompromising function. Yet, the knight's appearance wasn't always fierce and foreboding. Dressed in their fine chainmail and tabards, those outer garments emblazoned with a family crest or a majestic lion, they possessed an elegance that made them the medieval superstars of their time. One can't help but draw a parallel to today's athletes, straddling the fine line between danger and devotion, honor and heritage. The weaponry completes this ensemble. A sword, the knight's unfailing companion. Unlike the imaginative legends spun around Excalibur or Anduril, these swords were brutally pragmatic. The blade sings as it swings through air, deftly balanced but weighted with the intention of battle. And when she's sheathed, this companion waits silently, a sterling testament to the trust held between knight and weapon. In some ways, it's simpler than your dazzling Selfanino apps, but a direct connection to destiny. Of course, being a knight wasn't just about what's visible on the exterior. There were also the unseen burdens, the rigorous training, endless drills, and the expectations of honor that accompanied the role, defining knightly duties both on and off the battlefield. Knights had to navigate not just the intricacies of battlefields, but also fealty, loyalty, and knighthood's unsaid societal codes. The life of a knight wasn't all glory, as you might have gathered. The reality was far more demanding, filled with duties like castle patrols and serving as a vassal to higher lords. Training was relentless and discipline strict. A knight's rank bore associations not of fairy tale murals, but hard-wrought campaigns, political maneuvering, and, occasionally, navigating uncomfortable alliances. Occupying this space, you have traversed the trappings of medieval chivalry, feeling the pulse between its clashing steel and silence. It was a world where the clang of armor served as both a comfort and a reminder, the tension of the times woven into every joint and rivet. Somewhere within the silent, steadfast metal, listen for the echo of past glories, the clash of swords meeting shields, or perhaps the gentle whisper of the knight, pledging fidelity beneath the moon. Allow these impressions to linger as you exit, a snapshot of medieval knighthood encapsulated in metal, softened by human frailties. You're one section deeper into the castle's heart, where each room speaks its own language, and you've only just begun your journey through these ancient corridors. The Great Hall beckons, a place of feasting and far more than merriment awaits. Your footsteps echo along the stone corridors as you make your way to the castle's Great Hall. A heavy wooden door swings open, groaning slightly under its own weight. Instantly, you become engulfed by the scale and splendor before you, a testament to medieval opulence, built to dazzle and command respect. The Great Hall is vast, a cathedral of authority centered in the heartbeat of the castle. Long tables stretch out, laden with the remnants of previous feasts, the air still carrying faint hints of the aromatic dishes that once graced these wooden surfaces. The scent of roasted meats, hearty stews, and spiced wine lingers in the rafters, a spectral echo of culinary indulgence. As you stand on the uneven stone floor, you notice tapestries drape the walls, their intricate weave telling stories of valor and mythology, woven in rich shades of gold, crimson, and azure. They serve a dual purpose: to impress visiting dignitaries and to insulate the hall from the chill creeping through the stones. These are more than mere decorations. They are history in threads, narratives spun with as much care as medieval legends. Your eyes are drawn to the grand table set upon a raised dais. Here, the lord of the castle presides, a figure of immense authority. Surrounding him are his most trusted allies and family, their discussions not always buoyed by the spirit of the feast. In this hierarchical arena, feasting and politics feed off each other, as guests trade information and allegiances as easily as cups of ale. Indeed, it's the clatter of dining united with the murmur of intrigue, the symphony of medieval camaraderie and rivalry. On feast days, this hall transforms into a theatre of grandeur, where the spectacle of food competes with the drama of human interaction. You might imagine how the timber ceiling, darkened by smoke over the years, holds back a wealth of secrets shared over banquets, as scandalous as any overheard in our modern-day boardrooms. Imagine you're a medieval guest. A platter is presented before you, piled high with boar, perhaps, or a fragrant concoction of herbs and grains. You gingerly pick at it, feeling the rough, crude weight of the dish, and give thanks that cutlery became all the rage. But careful, you might find a pig's snout or a songbird in such extravagant assortments, where each morsel is a testament to the cook's zealous dedication and the lord's unascertainable appetite. With each bite, your senses are drawn fully into this bustling, sensory panorama. The savory chew of meat, the satisfying crunch of field vegetables, the sweet tang of honeyed sweets. Yet amid the feasting, politics simmer just below the surface, like waves beneath a steady ship. Historians still debate whether this blend of extravagance and diplomacy was a true reflection of power or merely an illusionon that the Lord used to maintain an iron grip on his known world. A jest from the jester rings out, punctuating the air as wine flows freely, emboldening words and loosening once guarded tongues. In this transient revelry, alliances are tested, challenged, and sometimes forged anew based on the whispers exchanged in the great hall's lively glow. Amidst such hubbub, you almost miss the figures that duck in and out of the edges of your vision. Stealthy servants expertly weave through the crowd, replenishing platters and goblets with the ease of seasoned performers. Their presence is subtle yet essential, orchestrating the evening with harmonious precision. Beneath the grandeur, their silent servitude keeps the cogs of this extravagant machine perpetually in motion. Their choreographed dance is vital, not only maintaining the flow of the feast, but also acting as the eyes and ears of the hall. For just as important as the feast itself is the delicate maintenance of respect, reputation, and influence, those gatherings can bring a fracture within stone walls that never forget. As you stand amidst the ebb and flow of medieval society unfolding before you in vibrant hues and lively sounds, remember that this is a place where historians, knights, noblewomen, and peasants could momentarily share a vision, albeit from very, very different vantage points. Every banquet is a performance where indulgence meets intrigue, and power is both sipped and spilled as readily as wine. The Great Hall is more than the sum of its parts. It is the theatre of medieval life, where stories of strength and subtlety played out night after night, each leaving its indelible mark on the tables, walls, and traditions that outlived kings and commoners alike. Now, feel the flicker of the torchlight softened by shadows as you retreat from the hall, the sounds of revelry and whispered plots trailing behind you like a distant echo. Your next destination entices you with its unsung labor, the kitchen, where unseen hands conjure the magic lingering in the great hall's memories, just waiting for an encore. Heeding the call of unseen labor, you move toward the epicenter of culinary artistry in the medieval castle, the kitchen. It is a hidden hive of activity, tucked away from the prying eyes of noble guests, where smoke curls up to meet the aged beams, and the air simmers with rich aromas and bustling energy. As you step inside, you're immediately enveloped by a humid warmth, a stark contrast to the stone-wrought chill of the corridors. The kitchen greets your senses with layers of scents, roasting meats, baking bread, and the sharp tang of herbaceous bouquets hanging to dry. Here, the magic of the feast unfolds in a space crackling with life more cacophony than tranquility. Long wooden tables stretch straight as arrows, piled high with earthenware, vegetables, joints of meat, and grains. Cooks and scullery maids flurry between tasks, their movements a choreographed dance of culinary craftsmanship. Pots clang, spoons stir with determined rhythm, and the crackle of the hearths joins this symphony of creation. Welcome to the epicenter of controlled chaos, the medieval test kitchen of grand proportions. In one corner, there's the butcher juggling the demands of carcass and cleaver sweat, gleaming on his brow as he turns raw strength into portioned cuts fit for a lord's palate. Elsewhere, a cook spurs steam to rise from a simmering cauldron, skillfully adding pinches of this and that, trained hands knowing when to quell the hunger and when to rouse flavor. The kitchen hums like a well-tuned, if slightly unpredictable, orchestra. The castle's kitchen is a microcosm of innovation. It demands flexibility and the ability to use what's available, drawing from a well of practical needs and local produce. The modern-day farm-to-table movement? You might say it began here, in medieval kitchens where seasons dictated menus and every morsel held its worth. This kitchen must not only feed the nobility's hungry eye, but also that of the castle's numerous mouths, monumental task in times of both feast and famine. You might imagine a medieval chef wielding not just a ladle but also diplomacy, navigating requests as complex as any court petition, simultaneously charming and coaxing food from both larder and local fields. Historians still argue whether the medieval kitchen's range could match today's precision. Yet one thing is clear: the richness of its offerings and the subtlety of its palate were exceptional achievements, presenting opportunities to both impress and innovate. By appearance alone, these kitchens teetered between creative genius and sheer madness, but from their hearths emerged meals memorable enough to have feast days named after them. Adjoining this flurry is the bakery, the scent of kneading dough, and the heat of rising loaves forming its own aromatic invitation. Bakers here are the unsung heroes, toiling with strange recipes involving unyielding ovens and flour-dusted fingers. The bread they produce is the bedrock of daily sustenance, an essential staple that complements each course and carries its own medieval myths. While kitchens are places of creation, they also accommodate secrets. Cauldrons can boil over with more than stew, carrying covert messages or the occasional illicit encounter. It's said that chiefs within kitchens knew more of household affairs than the lords and ladies themselves, with herbs as shrouded in mystery as the gossip they overhear. Much like today's vibrant gossip centered around the local coffee shop, these culinary artisans glean and distribute information as beneficial to their art as it is to their status. The kitchen hums not just with work, but with human stories, fables, fallout from the latest intrigues, and whispers of faraway places all dance amongst the pots. It's a world of survival and sustenance, requiring both grit and grace in equal measure. Peeling yourself away from this invigorating panorama, you leave behind the clamor of labor and the mingling essences that define this hidden heart of the castle. No matter how remote from the gilded halls upstairs, life here proves that sustenance is both art and necessity, performance unscripted, yet enduring in its own right. As warmth finally fades, and the cooler corridors enfold you once again, you carry with you the unseen hand's testament to an indomitable spirit. a spirit that rallies every day to meet the challenges faced in nourishing a world where surprise lies in wait behind every door. Next, you'll step into the realm of knights once more, where chivalry beckons, a code not always as polished or noble as those shining steel suits might suggest. You find yourself navigating the intricate corridors of the castle, descending deeper into the world of knights, where the very idea of chivalry entices you to question its origins and intents. Is it a noble code of conduct, or an elaborate facade for the knights you've witnessed armored and standing tall? The corridor opens like the unfurling of a parchment into a room dedicated to the training and living quarters of knights. Here, you are struck by the simplicity of their personal space, a stark contrast to the grandeur witnessed elsewhere. Swords and shields rest, some thoughtfully stacked, others leaning haphazardly against walls. The smell of leather oil and sweat hangs in the air, a testament to labor and long hours spent honing skills that transcend simple warfare into an art form. Knights ponderously attend to their gear, tongues of cloth and bellows of laughter mixing as they weave the fabric of camaraderie. This brotherhood is bound not only by arms, but by ideal saw the semblance of them that shapes a knighthood's identity. At the heart of their ethos lies chivalry, an ideal that, to the outside world, epitomizes honor, valor, courtesy, and a picturesque vision of knighthood. Yet, a closer look reveals a more complex tapestry, with threads sometimes woven by necessity rather than honor. Does the gallant knight of tales truly embody virtue, or does practicality occasionally mar this romanticized view? As a code, chivalry is part and parcel of knightly conduct, much vaunted in tales passed down through minstrels and troubadours. Honor in battle is paramount, as is the protection of the innocent and the championing of the weak. Yet, beneath this gleaming surface, the same code finds itself shadowed by the realities of war and political necessity, a tapestry, both intricate and imperfect. Historians still argue whether chivalry was ever truly about purity of spirit or merely an evolutionary response to the chaos of medieval life. Would these men-at-arms have rescued maidens from high towers simply for the glory, or was there an unspoken quid pro quo at play, a knight's hand, willingly guiding virtue's reign in return for tables filled and coffers lined? Training sequences here are precise, with patient repetition drilling instinct into technique. Knights spar briskly, muscle memory executing maneuvers honed to not only impress but survive. Finesse is wrapped in strategy, with every fence strike aimed to both defeat and dazzle. Ensuring the knightly reputation stays untarnished, a powerful deterrent against visible weakness. Outside the rigors of physical prowess, knights are expected to master courtly conversation and perform gallant services in tournaments. Here lies another facet of chivalry, where feats of strength and displays of skill occupy a stage of opulence and spectacle. Those tournaments serve as much as open-air chess matches as they do displays of martial lays for political favor, reminiscent taste of pageantry mixed with valor. But gallantry doesn't solely rest in galloping along on war horses, silk banners clutched in hand. It seeks a place in the quieter moments too, in the gentle care of horses back at the stables or when providing for the serfs tending their land. Such acts seem simplistic, yet it is here that chivalry finds its balance, grounded in actions that span the heroic to the humble. For all its pageantry, chivalry's history holds a penchant for secrecy and selective truth-telling, painting its knights in strokes as varied as they are broad. Sir Gawain, in Arthurian myth, is said to have epitomized the knight with unblemished honor, while tales of betrayal and whispered treachery weave these codes into myriad layers of truth. As you move from this room, you can almost hear the echoes of hooves thundering across a tournament field, entwining with whispers in dark chambers that question the purity of this hallowed life. Envision labor-whetting blades for battle glory, bathed in the light of a setting sooner, vivid picture of an ideal, enshrined in both ceremony and reality. Having glimpsed beneath the cloak of the lords clad in steel, you're stealthily shepherded towards a more serene and introspective chamber, the chapel. It is here amidst whispered prayers and heavenly aspired arcs that the spiritual pursuits bind another dimension to the castle dweller's multifaceted existence. You're guided to contemplate this sacred realm, where divine aspirations attempt to preside over human frailty as rigidly as a knight's oath. Emerging from the echo of clashing steel and nightly pursuits, you find yourself gravitating toward a sanctuary of stillness within the chaotic bustle of the castle. The Chapella place where stone walls soften their grip on the rigors of daily toil and ambitions, and where the air is tentatively laced with an ethereal calm. As you step through the chapel's arched doorway, the cool air envelops you with a hush. The transition from the worldly to the spiritual is palpable here, a natural pause that quiets thoughts and beckons introspection. The faint smell of beeswax candles and the delicate incense's perfume fill the space, promising solace and a moment's respite from the endless demands of castle life. Stained glass windows filter mottled, coloured light onto the cold stone floor, creating pools of blues, reds and golds that mingle in sanctified beauty. These windows are pictorial sermons, artistically rendered stories from holy texts, intended to inspire and educate those who pass through. The chapel is more than just a space for quiet reflection. It functions as the castle's spiritual heart. Its small size is offset by its immense purpose. Here, the pulse of medieval religion beats steadily, threading divine obligation through the fabric of everyday life. The chapel's design reminds you of spirituality's power in a time when earthly life was as fleeting as a knight's declaration of loyalty. Nestled in pews, castle inhabitants kneel heads bowed, hands clasped. Their whispered prayers dissolve into the stillness, seeking guidance and redemption. Tattered, dog-eared prayer books are scattered, their pages marked by generations of soul-seekers seeking solace. For some, these walls house deeper confessions, where the reality of sin hangs quietly between translucent shards of filtered light. Medieval spirituality isn't merely a matter of private faith, it reinforces societal hierarchy. Within these walls, the castle's lord receives assurance of divine right, reinforced by ritual, while the lives below adhere to the ecclesiastical framework that legitimizes even the most mundane circumstances of life. Discerning the roles within this sacred space, you recognize the chaplainer, custodian of faith and witness, to whispered confessions of many hearts. This quiet figure provides counsel, navigating the delicate task of maintaining a life of piety while caught in the maze of courtly intrigue. Sometimes, one wonders whether the boundaries of secular and sacred are as clear as holy water seen through stained glass. Here's a quirky snippet. Records even suggest that medieval chapels occasionally functioned as venues for legal proceedings, perhaps a courtroom with divine oversight, fostering justice filtered through moral reflection rather than raw edict alone. Imagine the solemnity of divine illumination cast across courtroom faces as verdicts were dispensed. Historians still argue whether the integration of ecclesiastical influence into legal and political matters forebode corruption or guided moral compass. Yet, the intertwined nature of church and state seems as intrinsic to medieval life as any passage in Scripture. Beneath the tacitly noble airs of a chapel, there exists the persistent reminder of its humanescent, endless cycle of devotion within lives that swing between penitence and perseverance. The chapel stands as a testament to mankind's yearning for meaning, a shaft of spiritual light amid the Lord's secular stronghold. As you reflect in this hallowed space, the gentle tremor of a bell signals the close of prayers. Figures rise from their knees, life outside the stone once again beckoning them back to realities left in brief abeyance. You're drawn to follow, the chapel's peace brushing softly against your back like a blessing on your path. With this divine interlude behind you, you prepare to delve into the life of those who perhaps wield more influence than many suspect the lady of the castle. Here, within the seemingly intricate weave of courtly fabric, a tapestry of power and subtlety awaits your unraveling. Discover, as the next chapter unfolds, how the lady's role stretches far beyond embroidered tapestry and etiquette lessons. Leaving the serene chapel behind, you are nudged gently toward a realm often overshadowed by the louder duties of knights and lords the world of the lady of the castle. Her influence is woven into the very fabric of daily life, subtle yet powerful, like a thread that holds the complex tapestry of castle existence together. You step into her chamber, a space that speaks volumes about her role and responsibilities. The aroma of lavender mingles with beeswax candles, creating an inviting warmth that contrasts sharply with the chill of the stone walls outside. Elegant rugs cushion the stone floor, vibrant with intricate patterns that reflect both artistry and status. The one detail that captures your attention is the loom, standing prominently by the window. It's more than a symbol of domesticity. It's an instrument of creation and contemplation. When the lady sits at her loom, she weaves not just fabric, but also stories, dreams, and sometimes the future of the castle itself. Each thread she pulls is imbued with intention and career manifestation of the unseen work she undertakes. The lady's life is a dance of balancing her duties as a hostess, a manager, and often a diplomat. Her day begins at first light, with the scullery maids and cooks awaiting her instructions. She oversees the daily running of the household, ensuring that all within the castle receive sustenance and care. In medieval terms, she's the glue that keeps the intricate machinery of castle life operating smoothly. On some days, she's seen presiding over a spinning wheel, crafting delicate linen as dexterously as she maneuvers through matters of estate management. The care in each thread mirrors her attention to preserving her family's lineage and fortune. It's a craftsmanship woven into both physical goods and relational dynamics. Her education extends beyond domestic arts. In her repertoire are the skills of herbal remedies, knowledge passed from generations about how to soothe an ailment or cast away maladies with nature's own remedies. This makes her an indispensable figure in the ecosystem of the castle, akin to a medieval healthcare provider before modern medicine formalized the practice. The lady of the castle also knows the power of influence and the subtle art of negotiation. Her quarters often serve as informal councils, receiving visitors and extending hospitality, all while listening attentively and sometimes acting on the undercurrents of intrigue. It's her gentle persuasions and skillful mediation within these informal gatherings that can sway important decisions, perhaps as much as any council held in the Lord's chamber. Yet, there's a fascinating balance between her public face and private aspirations. The embroidered patterns her hands craft might mask aspirations tethered to a needle's delicate point. One might wonder what dreams linger in the hem, what dances of diplomacy remain hidden in a sleeve stitched with golden thread. Historians still argue whether the lady's role was truly emancipatory or restricted within the boundaries of feudal expectations. Nevertheless, she played a pivotal role, nurturing ties between families through the carefully orchestrated endeavors of marriage, alliances, and social networking way before the age of social media. Amidst these responsibilities, the lady's importance extends to shaping the lives of those within reach of her influence. Her interactions with other women in the castle maidens, ladies-in-waiting, and even those of lower station define much of the emotional landscape of medieval life. Her understanding and empathy touch lives as vividly as any lord's decree, fortifying the subtle power structures that guide castle life. As you leave her quarters, you paint a mental picture of the lady seated at her loom, a character full of quiet fortitude, weaving not merely with thread, but with words and wisdom that silently carve the legacy of the castle. There she sits, under the weight of ancient beams and gathered shadows, posing not just as a figure of nobility, but as a master of intricate human connections. Back in the corridors, your footsteps echo gently, and you are left to ponder the silent rhythms this lady's presence created. You're ready to follow her into the castle's private sanctum the Solara retreat for leisure and conversation, where the muted hum of castle life becomes a whisper, drawing you into its secrets and subtle intrigues with a soft, inviting allure. Stepping away from the lady's chamber, your path leads you toward the Solar, a hidden retreat within the castle designed for comfort, reflection, and private discourse. This sun-kissed room is where life slows to a gentle heartbeat, offering a moment of respite from the clamor of castle duties. As you cross the threshold into the Solar, you are greeted by a warm, inviting ambience. Sunlight spills through leaded glass windows, casting a patchwork of dappled light across intricately woven rugs that cushion the floor. An unexpected coziness envelops you, reminiscent of sunlit rooms adorned with well-loved books and soft throws in today's homes. In the Solar, the atmosphere is a blend of leisure and intrigue, where the boundaries between the private and public spheres gently blur. Here, the lord and lady can share quiet moments away from the watchful eyes of their retinue, conversing freely in hushed tones that the stone walls faithfully keep secret. Comfortable chairs and cushioned settles are strategically arranged around a central hearth, where flames whisper their own stories with flickering grace. It's a room that speaks of quiet power, a place where relationships are forged, ideas are nurtured, and the subtler shades of influence play out without fanfare. Upon closer inspection, the solar is filled with personal touches that speak to the tastes and preferences of its occupants. Beautifully embroidered cushions hint at the lady's skill, each stitch a tiny testament to her artistry. Bespoke trinkets and finely crafted objects tell much about the life and interests of those who inhabit this space, showcasing a personal narrative outside the cascade of titles and responsibilities thrust upon them. The solar's serenity is punctuated by the soft rustle of leaves from the potted plants that edge the room, offering vibrant snippets of color and life amidst the muted tones of stone walls. It's a place where one's senses find rest, openness, and rejuvenationa, much-needed sanctuary from the governing dispersals and militant posturing prevalent in other wings of the castle. This intimate chamber isn't just a venue for leisurettes, also a backdrop where subtle counsel is given and taken. In this comfortable sanctuary, eyes meet over shared confidences, and laughter mingles with the clinking of goblets, where politics of emotion, allegiance, and strategy breathe easily alongside familial endearments. Historians still argue whether the solar primarily functioned as a sanctuary for retreat or as a hotbed for political maneuvering masked by domesticity. Perhaps it was both a physical embodiment of the complex duality medieval life demanded of its elite. You may even imagine a room filled with music, as minstrels are sometimes invited to the solar to serenade castle, inhabitants with plaintive tunes or rousing ballads, each chord striking the air with melodies that cross from one century to the next, stitching together the ancient and the now. The lady, amidst her duties, might find a moment or two in this room to practice the gentle art of embroidery or engage in conversations with trusted companions, her needlework as precise and considered as her spoken word. Conversations once held here resonate with undertones of decision vanishing into the ethereal present, only to echo in the corridors of the past subtle whispers amidst grander gestures. As you allow the calm of the solar to envelop you, you realize how this room serves as the unguarded heart of the castle. It captures the essence of human experience in a fortress designed to endure beyond its makers. It's a place of haven and hovering dreams, a space where boundaries fade and personalities reveal themselves with sincerity and complexity. Leaving behind this sanctuary, refreshed by its quiet dignity, you ready yourself to descend into spaces far less forgiving, where light rarely touches. The depths of the dungeon await a realm where pragmatism reigns and darkness dwells, serving human needs as multifaceted as those in the sunlit room you now depart. From the sunlit contours of the solar, you make your way down a winding staircase into the depths of the castle, stepping into the shadowed realm of the dungeon. As you descend, the temperature drops significantly, wrapping your skin in a damp chill that speaks of untold stories and whispered secrets. The air is laden with an earthy scent of stone and neglect, mingled with something metallic, a small reminder of the purpose this space once served. The dungeon is a stark contrast to the castle's noble quarters, like stepping into another world altogether. The flickering torchlight struggles to push back the darkness, casting long, eerie shadows that dance along the rough, uneven walls. Here, the medieval propensity for pragmatism finds one of its most unyielding expressions. It's a sobering reminder of the castle's broader function, not just as a seat of power, but also as an enforcer of order, and sometimes fear. At first glance, you might think the dungeon solely served as a grim repository for those who'd fallen from grace. Yet, there's more complexity to this place than its bare stone cells suggest. Dungeons were indeed used for imprisonments, sometimes for those awaiting trial or as a holding area during conflicts. The very idea that these walls absorbed countless human hopes and fears is enough to give anyone pause. Yet, the dungeon's role stretched beyond incarceration. In times of siege, this subterranean space was often repurposed for storage, safeguarding critical supplies like grain and weapons ensuring continuity when the world above teetered on the brink of chaos. Like an insurance policy against an unpredictable world, the dungeon's dual function serves the ever-prepared mindset crucial to medieval survival. Touch the cold, damp stone, and you'll feel the weight of history and the echo of forgotten voices. Within these windowless confines, all social hierarchies disappear, leaving only the raw, unfiltered sensations of human endurance. Each echoing drip and muted clink of chains stands testament to its darker Talisa, stark contrast to the castle's more public spectacles of power. Historians still debate whether dungeons served primarily as a deterrent to crime or were more frequently utilized during times of unrest to maintain order. Regardless, their reputation was likely enough to instill fear into the hearts of those who might stray outside the bounds of societal norms. Interestingly, in some castles, the dungeon included spaces for more than just the unfortunate souls caught in its grasp. Secret traps, escape tunnels, and hidden chambers also occasionally found a home here, vestiges of ingenuity mingled with paranoia. These features, rendered in stone and shadow, reveal the inherent vulnerability that even those of power harbor a duality, wrapped tightly within the stone embrace of their own making. Imagine for a moment a high-ranking prisoner, perhaps a knight or an opposing lord, housed within a stony cocoon. Their confinement demands respect as much as fear. Locked into the dance of political leverage above negotiations held with each paced footstep echoing through the corridors above. It's a scene less of abject horror, more of chess pieces locked in a carefully orchestrated drawer, waiting for an unseen hand to release them. Flicking your gaze to the iron-barred doorway that separates each cell, you perhaps understand how this austere environment became a physical reminder of justice's natura, balance between severity and necessity, where decisions echo beyond these pallid walls and back into the halls of the living. As you linger for a moment longer in the semi-light, you can almost hear the whispered tales of resilience, a fitting testament to human endurance. It's a reminder that every story, whether triumphant or cautionary, finds its place within the layers of history. Finally exiting the dungeon, the grip of its humid cold releases you, a sense of relief mingling with newfound understanding. Your path now bends upwards, yielding to awareness of how the perpetual need for defense has been woven into the very architecture of the castle. Beyond moats and imposing walls, you delve into the ingenious strategies that transformed these stone monoliths into bastions of survival. Each bulwark a trial of human ingenuity against the forces of time and tide. Emerging from the shadow-laden depths of the dungeon, you find yourself back in the light, where the sprawling might of the castle comes into stark relief. Here, defense is more than just a function, it is art, science, and a testament to the ingenuity of medieval architects and engineers who innovated to protect not just stone and timber, but life itself. Surrounded by towering battlements and imposing walls, you are immediately struck by the castle's sheer scale. The walls rise high, standing as silent sentinels against external threats. The thick stone blocks are cold to the touch, each one meticulously placed with a mind toward both durability and intimidation. The very quintessence of a fortress, these defenses aren't simply about exclusion, they are about projecting power and security. Take a moment to appreciate the brilliance of the moat, that iconic feature encircling many castles. It's more than just a water-filled ditch, serving as both an impediment against siege engines and a barrier preventing tunnels from being dug. The moat is a multifaceted defense mechanism. And if the image of alligators lurking beneath the surface springs to mind, rest assured, these moats owe their efficacy more to their depth and breadth than to any reptilian guardians. Beyond the moat, towers punctuate the walls at strategic intervals. Designed to provide lines of sight in all directions, these towers are both watchful guardians and ideal vantage points for archers who watch over the land. It's easy to imagine alert sentries pacing these high perches, eyes scanning for distant movement while seemingly peering through the veil of time itself. Central to castle defense is the portcullis, a heavy, spiked grille that can be lowered quickly to block entry. The clinking chains and grinding cogs of a portcullis in motion are emblematic of the medieval defensive mindset, an immediate, authoritative response to any prevailing threat. Imposing as it is, the portcullis stands as reassurance to those within and a challenge to anyone outside. Stepping onto the narrow walkway of the walls, you realize they serve an essential dual purpose as both shield and pathway. Crenellations offer protection during combat. the raised sections providing cover, while the gaps, a chef d'oeuvre of stone precision, allow defenders to launch arrows or pour boiling oil down upon attackers. These fortifications are more than medieval military ingenuity. They're everyday structures designed to withstand relentless time and tumult. Historians still argue whether the primary role of these castles was defensive resilience or deterrent exhibition, but in truth, they were both and more. A castle's complexity served as a weekly contrast to life's impermanence, a bastion for the community in times of need. One defense mechanism that's subtly impressive is the murder hole situated in a passage leading to the castle's heart. These were gaps in the ceiling through which defenders could target invaders with stones or scalding liquids. Their very name conjures a giddiness of imagination, yet they serve as a brutal reminder of the harsh reality and strategic brilliance interwoven into every stone of castle life. Aiding all these strategies is the well-planned relocation of resources, weapons, and personnel, each element harmonized to ensure survivability and ward off aggressive advances from enemy forces. For defenders, augmenting psychological warfare with physical surprise could crumble the morale of besieging armies, their determination washing away like waves against these enduring walls. Now, as the sun begins its descent on the horizon, elongating shadows along the battlements, you comprehend the extents builders went through to ensure a castle's formidable presence transcended mere physical structures. It's a palimpsest of human resilience, ingenuity, and the perpetual need to thrive amid adversity. With defenses admired, you descend from the battlements, reprising your journey within this emotional fortress. Your path leads you toward the lesser-known heroes of the castle's walls, those ancient custodians tasked with the art of healing, their practices serving as precursors to modern medicine. Here, in a world as enigmatic as the towering battlements, the realm of medieval medical practice awaits a blend of burgeoning science and age-old tradition, each vying to probe the boundaries of human longevity. Leaving the imposing fortifications behind, you enter the less austere but equally fascinating world of medieval medical practices within the castle. Here, you step into a domain where science and superstition intertwine, a realm filled with the cautious optimism of healers and the whispered hopes of the unwell. You find yourself in a modest chamber, where the earthy scent of dried herbs mingles with the sterile tang of vinegar and spirits. Shelves lined with jars of concoctions, potions, and poultices catch your eye, each vessel housing a blend of ingredients intended to restore health or ward off illness. The air is tinged with the aromatic melodies of lavender, rosemary, and sage, blends that promise comfort in an age beset by maladies. In this small, shadow-cloaked world, the healer reigns a figure as much respected as feared. With hands baptized in the healing arts, they are the conduits of ancient knowledge, bearers of both traditional practices and daring innovations. For those stricken by illness, these healers represent the medieval bastion against an uncertain future where sickness's sharp talons threaten to claim one's place in the fragile hierarchy of life. You observe as the healer delicately prepares a remedy, crushing herbs and mixing them with honey or wine to create a soothing balm. Her face, etched with years of discernment, reflects the quiet determination born of her vital role. Her tools are laid out with precision: knives for bloodletting, bowls for mixing, and long, slender needles for stitching wounds, a humble yet poignant array of her trade. Beyond herbal remedies, you learn of practices brought to medieval Europe through trade and conquest. The influence of Arab medicine, with its focus on hygiene and observation, begins to unfold in these chambers. Its introduction marked a distinct shift from purely spiritual explanations of illness, offering a bridge from enchantment to empirical evidence. Historians still debate whether this cross-cultural exchange was fully embraced by medieval societies, yet the evolution of medical thinking in this period laid groundwork for future advances. It's not all remedies and relaxation here, though. The belief in the balance of the four humours, blood, phlegm, black bile, and yellow bile, remains paramount in diagnosing and treating illnesses. Imbalance among these is thought to cause disease, and treatments often revolve around restoring equilibrium. Bloodletting, a practice considered essential for this balance, is a common and incredibly risky procedure, one that would surely raise an eyebrow or two in modern clinics. Amidst these procedures, there's plenty of room for quirks. For protection, some folks tuck a dried frog or powdered owl's claw under their pillow-charming insurance policies against the night's terrors. These curious practices are relics from a time when drawing from nature's bounty for protection was second nature, tinged with charms and chants whispered in half-belief. Yet, beneath the rituals and concoctions, there resonates a genuine desire to mend and understand the forging of a relationship between healer and patient that transcends mere transactional care. In the hearth-inspired glow of this chamber, you glimpse humanity's eternal quest for wellness, a quest walked upon serpentine paths lined with trial, error, and hope. As you exit this healing nexus, it is with an appreciation not just for the patchwork their medicine represents, but for the resilience imbued in the very act of healing. You leave behind this microcosm rich in remedies and revelations, footsteps guiding you toward the creative soul of the castle. Ahead lies the realm of the troubadours and artists who prove that amid medieval life's tangibilities rise moments of beauty, rendered upon stone and carried in song. Here, within the castle's storied walls, the resonant spirit of artistry awaits, offering escape and ethereal connection painted in vivid hues and poetic melodies. As you transition from the earthy embrace of the healer's domain, you find yourself moving toward a different kind of magic within the Cassone, woven not of herbs and salves, but of melody and imagination. It's a space where emotions are painted across the airwaves, mingling with aspirations like hues blended by a master artist's brush. This is where the creative pulse of the castle beats its more ebullient rhythms. Stepping into a spacious gallery or courtyard wherever the muse chooses to reside, the mood is immediately lighter. The atmosphere is buoyed by the sounds of stringed instruments being tuned, and the gentle hum of practice punctuated by bursts of heartfelt song. It is an indisputable testament to the artistry that flourishes amid stone and steel, reminding one that the soul's yearnings are as vital as the castle's fortifications. You observe a troubadour in the midst of composing, his lute a cherished companion that echoes tales of valor, love, and loss. His fingers dance deftly across the strings, coaxing from it a cascade of notes that rise and fall like the banner-clad peaks of distant hills. His voice, rich and lyrical, threads through the tapestry of sound, carrying a story with all the ease of a river's flow. In the corner, an artist is immersed in creating a tapestry, each stitch a labor of precision and passion. Lush colors spill across fabric like a painter's palette, depicting historic grand conquests, or the simple, intricate beauty of everyday life within the castle. This embroidery serves as both decoration and documentation, preserving stories of an era where the line between myth and history blurs like colors bleeding into fabric under rain. Art and music in the medieval castle are more than mere diversions. They are crucial tools for storytelling and preservation. In an age where oral tradition predominates, song and image earnestly capture the earthly and the ephemeralthy, unrecorded stories seeping beyond page and into memory. It's in this melodic temper that the artistry of the time becomes a shared legacy, a testament to humanity's ceaseless creativity, riding the shifts and sways of historical tides. Here you find troubadours recounting deeds of knights and ladies, transforming simple notions into wondrous narratives. Through music and verse, they shape public perception and breathe life into the characters that adorn tapestry and song. This interplay of visual and auditory art forms enriches and enlivens the castle's ebb and flow, acting as vibrant conduits for culture and companionship. Historians still argue whether the influence of troubadours was largely positive or swayed public sentiment towards whimsical diversions from harsh realities. However, their contributions, music, poem, and performance fostered a creative ethos that elevated emotions and sentiments unheard in battle cries or chapel hymns. In this fabled milieu, a resident can experience both subtle wit and epic dramatals spun from reality, carried into ribbons of creative fancy. Even amid the constraints of medieval life, these castle artists twist their narratives into hope, sorrow, and the resilience imbued faster than tapestry can unravel and reform. Encouragingly, the castle's artistic endeavors were sometimes influenced by cultural exchanges facilitated by pilgrims and merchants journeying vast roads. Ideas traversed along these routes as nourishing as any rich fare, fostering innovations and synergy found in the crux of cultural intersections. As you take your leave from this kaleidoscope of creativity, there's a palpable sense of wonder soundscape still vivid within your mind. Your thoughts dance like gleaming light reflecting from bright tapestries an invitation to pursue the stories that art imprints on time's pages. You then find yourself intrigued by the lives growing within the castle walls, transitioning to experience childhood in this impenetrable fortress. How did these young souls, born into such grandeur or labor, find their rhythm and purpose? Simple laughter and the journey of learning await, each day's rippling discoveries pooling in the eddies of youthful ambition and the quiet reflection of those tasked with guiding their tender futures. The lively echoes of music and art fade into the background as you turn your focus toward the castle's youngest inhabitants, the children. Wonder fills your steps as you navigate through areas dedicated to their rearing and education. In this bastion of stone and tradition, children breathe life into the somber halls with their vitality and boundless curiosity. Imagine the sight of a sunlit courtyard where you find a group of children at play. Their laughter is a stark juxtaposition to the structured formality surrounding them. Dressed in tunics and simple gowns that allow them unfettered movement, they create a lively tapestry, all their own, that spins joy from the mundane rhythms of castle life. Some engage in a game that appears to be the medieval precursor to tag, their animated shouts punctuating the air, while others attempt to master the use of wooden swords, channeling the innate bravery they imbibe from the tales told by household troubadours and storytellers. These games are much more than idle play. They lay the groundwork for understanding hierarchy, loyalty, and strategy skills that will become essential as they grow into their roles within the castle's social structure. Yet, childhood in a medieval castle is not only about play. Education, too, holds an esteemed place amid their upbringing, with lessons often held in private chambers or small gathering rooms. Here, young nobles learn to read and write in Latin and their native tongue, expounding upon history, theology, and the principles of chivalry. For the fortunate few, education extends to music, and perhaps a smattering of the sciences, exciting precursor to the awe of future discoveries. Children from noble families often benefit from the guidance of tutors who impart lessons with a disciplined reverence. These educators are tasked with not just disseminating knowledge, but shaping character, where the virtues of knighthood and the art of diplomacy are as prominently featured as page-turning volumes and parchment scrolls. Meanwhile, children from the lower rungs of medieval society gather their education from life itself. They shadow skilled artisans, taking cues in their apprenticeship, where craftsmanship and diligence become their tutors. From blacksmith sparks to baker's loaves, they weave their education from mere observation and practice, their intellectual trails marked not by ink but by muscle memory. Historians still argue whether medieval childhood was a truly protected phase of life or a brief prelude to adult responsibilities. Yet, what stands clear is the interplay of innocence and experience as vital components of growing up in these austere yet nurturing environments. Socialization between children of different social classes occurs within the castle's confines, fostering connections and offering glimpses into each other's worlds. These interactions often plant seeds of empathy and understanding that could unravel or reinforce the fabric of societal barriers as time marches on. As you watch, you notice a group of children engaged in the intricate art of falconry skill that ties them to their forebears as deftly as any knot fastened to a hawk's jesses. Their teacher, a master falconer, explains the patience, technique, and care required to work with these majestic birds, with lessons that parallel the responsibilities they might one day shoulder. Romping back indoors, the more adventurous of the children clamber upon staircases and wooden balustrades, their footsteps echoing with effervescence. It's a reminder that these places, built for might and majesty, can also cradle the whimsical dance of youthful exploration. Each child within these fortified walls lives a life never short of surprises, carved from ageless stone, yet as individual as any weave in the tapestry. With the sun descending gently beneath the horizon, signaling the day's end, you draw back from the lively exuberance of the castle's youth. The passage before you leads toward practical endeavors and bustling tradia, vital artery of exchange that sustains the castle's very breath. Here, amidst bustling merchants and the age-old economy, you'll follow the lifeblood of goods and currency, moved with diligence and determination. Mirror reflecting the intricacies of survival against medieval tides and timeless rhythms of an era undisguised in its earnest pursuits and error-rest in its inevitable transitions. Leaving the spirited laughter of the castle's young behind, you find yourself drawn toward the bustling nexus of trade and economy that sustains this medieval stronghold. Trade and commerce are the lifeblood of the castle, orchestrating a dance of goods and currency that keeps the intricate machinery of medieval life humming with precision. You step into the courtyard once again, now transformed into a lively marketplace where the energy is palpable. Merchants have set up stalls laden with an array of goods-fresh produce glistening with morning dew, bolts of rich, brilliantly dyed cloth, and baskets brimming with handcrafted goods. The air is thick with the aromas of spiced wares, and the chatter of trade negotiations conducted in a medley of earnest tones. As you wander through this vibrant tapestry, you are reminded of the broader economy that connects this castle to the world beyond its imposing walls. The castle grounds serve as a central hub for the surrounding region, attracting traders from nearby villages who bring their harvest and craft to exchange for goods that arrive from further afield. Foreign spices, rare furs, and intricate metalwork speak to the far-reaching fingers of trade routes that stretch across the known world. Tradespeople haggle with the passion and fervor of poets, their words weaving through the air like instruments in a symphony. It's a game of wit played daily, with merchants keenly aware of balance sheets written not on paper but in the muscle memory of their minds. Here, every transaction is a dance between supply and demand, as tactile as the goods they exchange. Among the stalls, you spot a money changer carefully weighing silver coins, his fingers deftly assessing their weight and authenticity. It's a reminder that currency, that embodiment of value, has evolved into a crucial player within the broader economic landscape. The jingle of coins is a melody that underscores the rhythms of daily life, fluctuating with fortunes as capricious as the winds that whisper through the battlements. One quirky tidbit that catches your attention is the presence of tally sticks carried by some traders. These rudimentary yet effective accounting tools, notched to indicate debts and earnings, reveal the inventive nature of medieval bookkeeping methods. Ingeniously simple, these sticks act as tangible records of transactions, a forerunner to modern financial statements encapsulated in wood. Historians still debate the extent to which these medieval marketplaces influenced broader economic policies, questioning whether they were merely local hubs or a reflection of burgeoning global networks. Regardless, the evidence of their impact is right here in the ebb and flow of mercantile interactions that sustain the castle's community. Beyond the immediacy of trade, the castle economy extends to production, the fields tilled by serfs, whose fortunes are as deeply rooted in the soil as the crops they nurture. In the nearby workshops, artisans diligently ply their trades, crafting goods that honor both tradition and innovation. Whether a blacksmith's forge or a weaver's loom, each craft stands as a testament to skill honed over generations, feeding into a cycle of service and sustenance. Witnessing the intricacies of trade, you understand how this lively interchange is fueled by more than mere contracts or coinets about relationships, trust, and an unspoken social contract binding the castle and its surroundings. These markets translate isolation into interconnectivity, providing lifelines of both material goods and a sense of shared destiny that echoes its way through time's gristle. As the day stretches on, the sun tracing its arc across the sky, the market continues its ceaseless song, a hum of productivity stitching together past and future. Traders dismantle their stalls, counting their day's earnings, and families gather their spoils, preparing to retire for the evening. But your journey through the pulse of medieval life isn't yet complete. Ahead lies the clatter and clangor of craftsmanship at its most elemental, as you make your way toward the forge. Through the heat and the roar of fire, experience how the durability of both weapons and livelihoods are melded into form, a testament to resilience and resourcefulness. Each hammer stroke a heartbeat in the ceaseless dance of the castle's economy. Leaving the bustling market behind, you are drawn toward the resonant clanging and roaring heat that mark the location of the blacksmith's forgia sanctuary of transformation, where raw materials are cast into objects of purpose and power. As you approach, waves of warmth embrace you, the air tinged with the earthy scent of coal and scorched metal, mingling with the acrid tang of sweat and toil. Stepping into the forge, you're met by a scene of dynamic craftsmanship. Sparks leap like tiny fireworks from the anvil, where the blacksmith stands, hammer in hand, caught in the rhythmic dance of creation. The clangor of metal upon metal echoes through the space, resonating with a primal beata, reminder of both the ingenuity and endurance required to thrive in this fortress of stone and steel. The blacksmith's domain is one of organized chaos. Tools of various shapes and sizes line the walls and tables, their forms familiar even through layers of soot and grime. Tongs, vises, hammers, and bellows siege tool is an extension of the blacksmith's skilled hands, a testament to the symbiotic relationship between craftsman and craft. Here, in the forge's fiery heart, the raw material undergoes metamorphosis. A mass of glowing metal is carefully shaped and reshaped under the blacksmith's precise and unyielding blows. It's a tactile process of heat, force, and patience, a balancing act between the elements and human will. In this alchemical theatre, molten iron is coaxed and cajoled into swords, horseshoes, armor, and myriad vital objects that support the daily life of the castle. The blacksmith's work isn't just about swords and armor. It's the creation of tools and household items, as well everything from intricate locks and keys to simple nails and candle holders. Each piece is a crucial cog in the grand machinery of castle life, bridging the gap between functionality and durability, necessity and comfort. One fascinating tidbit is the tradition of warding off spirits with horseshoes, an object imbued with superstitious significance in addition to practical necessity. Positioned above doorways, these iron talismans are meant to ward off evil, their shapes symbolizing protective circles, charming testimony to medieval beliefs woven into everyday life. Historians still argue whether the blacksmith's status in society was solely based on necessity, or if their craft elevated them to a special social standing. Regardless, there's little doubt that the forge was a keystone in the medieval ecosystem, its products as essential to defense as they were to daily sustenance. The rhythm of the forge pulses like a heartbeat within the castle walls. Each swing of the hammer paints the air with resonance, every clang a narrative stroke in the story of human resilience. The flames that burn here mirror the very spirit of invention and endurance, unyielding and eternal. As you watch the blacksmith at work, you feel the raw power and artistry embedded in the simple, repetitive movements, a testament to expertise honed over countless seasons. The finished product, whether gleaming sword or humble hinge, emerges as a monument to centuries of skill, resilient as the anvil itself. As the smith quenches a newly formed sword in a steaming barrel of water, you sense a moment of satisfaction, the product of labor, manifest and complete. Those finished pieces gleam with the integrity only earned through sweat and fire, reminders of a world where every constructed element tells its own tale. Leaving the forge, carrying the warmth and metallic tang still caught in your senses, your journey through the castle lingers at another intersection. Now, the physical architecture itself beckons, inviting you to unravel its engineered mysteries. As the path winds toward the grand designs that gave rise to these towering giants, gaze upon the architecture, a marvel in its own right. Discover secrets interlaced with innovation as stone and sky interplay, each tower and buttress narrating a history built to endure and inspire. With the memory of the forge's heat fading behind you, your journey leads you to appreciate the castle's architectural might, a masterclass in medieval ingenuity and artistry, where form and function are intertwined into a magnificent testament to both human ambition and tenacity. Your eyes are drawn upward, tracing the lines of stone that stretch toward the heavens. Towers punctuate the skyline, piercing through the cloud-dappled blue like sentinels. Each tower tells its own story of engineering, prowess, and strategic thought, a masterpiece of symmetry and stability that anchors the sprawling fortress to its purpose. The castle's facade, with its rugged embrace, is the result of time-tested knowledge and adaptation. Stone upon stone is fitted with precision, creating a fortress that defies the elements. It's a mosaic of varying hues and textures, each piece hand-hewn and carefully placed as if the very earth has risen to shape the castle's form. Anticipate wandering through an arched entryway where the portcullis clatters overhead, a blend of defensive function and artistry in itself. The vaulted ceiling shelters you like a stone canopy, every curve and junction meticulously carved to spread weight evenly, safely cocooning those within. It's more than architecture. It's a dialogue between stone and craftsman, each corner a lesson in resilience. Your footsteps echo through corridors that twist and turn in deliberate complexity, designed less for ease and more to mystify unwelcome guests. It is a labyrinth with purpose, blurring the lines between protection and enticement, a maze that speaks of stories and secrets captured within its embrace. One of the most stunning aspects is the oubliette, a small hidden door leading to a subterranean pit where prisoners were kept. A stark reminder of the balance between beauty and the harsh realities of power in this world. In contrast, above you, light spills through narrow windows and arrow slits, casting elongated shadows across walls, where strongholds and keep merge in an elegant dance. Crenellations line the battlements like ancient teeth, their repetitive rhythm providing cover for archers during sieges. This seemingly simple design element is, in fact, an exercise in calculated defense, a magnum opus of form-meeting martial function. Historians may argue whether castles were truly invincible, as many did fall, but there's no denying that these stone fortresses served as formidable bastions in the theatre of medieval warfare. They are both an architectural achievement and a symbolic reminder of the power wielded by those within, attempting to assert their presence against both foes and time. The courtyard below is a showcase of courtyard design, where gardens, fountains, and well-trodden paths create a vibrant interplay of nature within the stronghold's embrace. Here, plants flourish and offer moments of serene respitenatures, embellishment in stark juxtaposition to stone, a whisper of life where stones might speak of silence. One captivating fact hidden in architecture is the secret passages hidden within the walls, a strategic marvel giving clandestine access to the castle's depths. These passageways were ingenious ploys for escape or surprise, a testament to the blend of genius and intrigue puzzle only the castle's keepers could solve. As the sun casts its warming glow over your path, each step of your exploration unlocks the architectural story laid out in stone. The castle is more than a home, or fortress, it's a living entity, reflecting the aspirations, fears, and trust instilled in its skeletal beams. From the highest turrets to the most buried vault, this construction beckons the imagination, while realistically grounding in defense and determination. Here, stone and spirit conspire to create a sanctuary enduring across eras. As your explorations draw to a close, the shadow of evening approaches, and your path tilts downward, echoing with the sound of steadfast vigilance. Here comes the castle's night watch, the constant guardians of peace, where sleep is a coveted luxury, and those who patrol know the world through a lens of starlit patience and unwavering vigilance. With the sun setting beyond the horizon, casting the castle in tones of purple and gold, you find yourself journeying deeper into the realms of night, a world where shadows stretch and silence reigns, punctuated only by the shifting of armor and the crisp night air. Welcome to the Night Watch, where vigilance replaces sleep and the weight of responsibility rides on every breeze. As the daytime bustle fades, you are introduced to a new cast of characters, the Watchmen, whose duty is to guard the castle as darkness envelops it. Clad in layers to ward off the night's chill, they tread familiar paths along the battlements, their eyes sharp and ears tuned to the slightest sound. Leather boots whisper over stone, creating a rhythm that harmonizes with the sounds of night creatures awakening. In the stillness, the castle reveals a different kind of life, a life where the usual clatter of work and play gives way to an awakened awareness. The tang of smoke mingles with damp earth, a sensory tapestry that connects each watchman not just to the castle, but to the natural world beyond its walls. The Night Watch is a testament to endurance and focus. Each watchman is positioned strategically, where they blend seamlessly into the embrace of the shadows, all-encompassing black, cloaking them in anonymity. Steely gazes scan the landscape for movement, while the distant howl of wind acts as an unwelcome companion. As you wander alongside them, you sense the palpable tension in the air. It's a time when every distant rustle or shuffle could signal either wildlife or an approaching threat. Each potential disturbance is assessed with practiced discernment, a balance between heightened vigilance and eerie calm. Atop the highest towers, the night sky unfurls its canopy of stars, a reminder that while the earthly world slumbers, the cosmic theatre continues. It's easy to imagine the watchman stealing a moment to glance up at the night's majesty, finding solace in the hypnotic dance of celestial bodies, marking the hours in a vast, grand clockwork. On occasion, the gentle melody of a lyre might echo softly from a distant corner, played by a watchman gifted in melodia, quiet offering to the night's solitude, bonding silent figures with an unspoken camaraderie. This simple act is a reminder of the life outside their vigilance, human warmth reaching out into the expansive night. One intriguing aspect is the importance of secret signals exchanged between watchmen, a nod of understanding that, when executed with delicacy, ensures the silent communication of necessary information. The flicker of torchlight, a specific whistle, or a momentary flash of light, each nuance fashions an intricate code woven into the night's vigilance. Historians still ponder whether these night watch regimens were solely a defensive necessity or a deeper ritual, rooted in ancient traditions that spoke to mystical beliefs about the power of the night. Whatever their origin, the rhythmic dedication stands as a testament to an enduring human need for safety and certainty. As the night grows deeper, the passage of time seems almost indistinct here, marked only by the incremental shift of the moon overhead. The occasional rustle of a solitary nightbird reminds you of the lifespans beyond human concerns, stretching from dusk through to dawn, only to sleep through the glow of daylight. Your observations of the night watch reveal more than the dark fails to Hidean, unbroken vigil shared across generations, cementing both duty and legend. They hold the weight of peace cradled within their reach, a living embodiment of the castle's enduring spirit. Dawn begins to paint the sky with tentative pinks and golds, easing the night watch from their posts as much as the sun warms stone. This transition welcomes a new day and the vibrant interactions of light and legacy it brings. You continue forward, where daylight holds the promise of new pageantry to be revealed. Arms clanking and banners billowing, the tourney field lies ahead, where the thrill of competition and the celebration of life at its edges invite both valor and spectacle. Here, beneath the watchful eyes of honored guests, chivalry, strength, and drama blend into a colorful festival of medieval might. As dawn breaks, casting its soft glow across the castle grounds, you follow the growing tide of anticipation toward the tourney field. This open expanse, bordered by stalls and makeshift pavilions, is where medieval valor takes center stage, a dance of strength and camaraderie, performed on the contrasting turf of dirt and grass. Arriving at the tourney field, you find yourself swept into the vibrant tableau of tournament dire, fusion of pageantry, sport, and a showcase for martial prowess. Brightly colored flags ripple in the brisk morning breeze, their colors vibrant against the backdrop of a clear sky. Participants and spectators, alike, gather in eager clusters, excitement buzzing through the throng like an electric current. Knights clad in resplendent armor are hard to miss, their shining plate and mail glinting in the early light. Each knight carries the weight of both their own honor and that of their patron or liege, a living embodiment of chivalric ideals fashioned under the knowing gaze of noble onlookers. For these warriors, the tournament is a proving grounder stage, where skill and daring meet in a test of courage and combat readiness. The air is filled with a symphony of sounds, armor clattering as knights prepare for joust and melee, the neighing of horses as they prance and canter in nervous anticipation, and the lively chatter of onlookers, placing bets and exchanging news. An arena of dust and dreams, the field becomes an epicenter of human ambition and entertainment, a spectacle for the ages. In one corner of the field, heralds announce the day's events. Their bold voices ring out over the crowd, presenting a litany of lineage and achievements, confirmatory affirmations of the knight's worthiness. The heraldry itself is as colorful a display as the herald's tunics, a visual narrative of ancestry that adds depth to the tournament's drama. When the trumpets sound, signaling the start of the joust, the crowd's anticipation reaches a crescendo. Knights charge their steeds full tilt, lances lowered with formidable precision toward their opponent. The earth trembles beneath the pounding hooves, the hazy dust tracing the trajectories of chivalry's champions. Fates are held in those split seconds, the clash of lance upon shielder, thunderous applause caught between courage and fallibility. Amidst the sweat and sinew, the tournament serves another purpose, less visible but equally potent. It's a social stage upon which alliances are formed and favors are curried. The bleachers filled with noble eyes flicker between combatant and competitor, potential ally and adversary. Whispers of political strategy intertwined with the voices cheering for a favorite knight. One curious note lingers in this martial symphony: the practice of delivering favors before the joust. A tokena scarf, a ribbon, a glove granted by a lady to a favored knight becomes a symbol of luck and affection as well as intrigue. It's a tangible token of admiration woven into the otherwise rough fabric of dominance being established on the field. Historians still debate whether tournaments were primarily about martial training, political maneuvering, or shared cultural celebration. Whatever their end purpose, they remain indelibly woven into the cultural fabric of the era, embodying knightly virtue and valor while presenting real-world stakes to the pageantry. As you observe the interplay of strength and spectacle, you sense the energy stretching beyond the field. It invigorates those beyond the participating knights, too, reaching out with tendrils of enthusiasm to young pages aspiring to knighthood and merchants attending to their booths. Amid the color and clangor, the tournament wraps itself in grandeur's embrace, a performance wherein the elements more theatrical unfold as though written by fate itself under theater's endless sky. The excitement is tangible, the highs exhilarating, yet there's a subtle warmth in the caring camaraderie nurtured here. When the final gauntlet is thrown down and the last joust concludes, the sun stretches long shadows across the field, an unspoken reminder that the exhilaration of tournament days draws its breath from both historical incantation and evolving tradition. With these grand displays etched in memory, you step into a realm of quieter, though no less consequential, adjudications, the practice of justice within the castle walls. Amidst the echo of gavels and the rustle of parchment, the scales of feudal law balance duty and diplomacy, revealing the nuanced depths of medieval justice. As the echoes of the tourney field fade into memory, you find yourself drawn toward the less boisterous yet equally vital machinery of castle life, its mechanisms of justice and law. Situated in a chamber suffused with both gravitas and authority, this is where decisions are made, and the scales of medieval justice attempt to balance the complexities of feudal society. You enter the great hall, repurposed now for judicial proceedings. The air is infused with an air of solemnity and arena, where whispered counsel and the clinks of chainmail blend into focused anticipation. Here, the lord, or his appointed steward, presides, seated upon an elevated dais that separates judgment from the murmurs of those who seek it. Today, the hall is populated by a diverse assembly, petty thieves and vagrants, respected vassals, and the accused who stand before their peers, cloaked in whatever sincerity or bravado they can muster. Here, in the heart of the castle, justice is both a performative and pragmatic affair, its proceedings often as public as any spectacle, where rulings ripple through the populace, affirming or unsettling their belief in the castle's custodian rights. Cases presented vary widely, touching all facets of life. Disputes over land and livestock are common, as are disagreements among neighbors or accusations of theft or treachery. Each case is presented with a mixture of rhetoric and evidence, pledges and witness testimonies, an intricate dance of persuasion beneath the hall's vaulted ceilings. The role of the lord or steward is not merely to arbitrate, but to embody the fairness upon which his power rests. It's a calculated scrutiny, blending lordly duty with the expectations of those who inhabit his fiefdom. Justice is dispensed not just to keep order, but to maintain a delicate equilibrium between authority and the livelihoods entrapped under its sway. In these hearings, trial by ordeal might still rear its head, a practice where the accused are subjected to severe tests, with innocence determined by divine intervention. It's the medieval equivalent to a pendulum swing between theocratic belief and mortal consequence, a keening reminder of an era still entwined with the mystical. One significant focal point of castle justice is the concept of boar, an Anglo-Saxon tradition fostering community accountability. It suggests that individuals, often grouped in tithings, were collectively responsible for each other's actions, subtly binding social fabric through mutual assurance of adherence to law and order. Historians still argue over the efficacy and fairness of medieval justice, often pointing to its inconsistencies in achieving true equity. However, these proceedings represent the constant endeavor to merge ancient traditions with the realities of governantian embodiment of a society in transition, with law reinforcing the complex labyrinth of obligations and protections afforded by the feudal system. The lord, often joined by learned advisors or ecclesiastical figures, navigates these waters with careful discernment and occasionally stern benevolence. His ability to maintain peace, to assuage grievances while upholding order, reflects not just a duty, but a reciprocal relationship with those he governs, a testament to leadership, dictated by more than just inherited bloodline. Amidst these formalities, interpersonal relationships play a subtle yet influential role in proceedings. Patronage, alliances, and hidden grudges shape the undertones of decisions as much as any proclamation. Here, it's not uncommon for justice to be served with a delicate dance of negotiation shimmying beneath the rigid veneer of the law. As the gavel strikes, and verdicts are rendered, sometimes redress, sometimes condemnation, a palpable stewardship lingers in these halls. The role of justice proves to be a fulcrum through which societal balance is realized, fluctuating between right and mandate, peace and precedent. With justice's echo settling into the castle stone, you step away from the judicial realm, out into corridors where the seasons weave through arched windows and open courtyards. Here, poised upon the brink of summer's harvest or winter's cloak, witness the omnipresent rhythm of medieval life unspooling through seasons. Feel the march of time in both labor and celebration, a tribute to the ceaseless cycle within the castle walls. As you step beyond the echoing halls of justice, you find yourself attuned to the broader rhythms that pulse through this fortress, the castle's adaptation to the changing seasons. Throughout the year, each shift in weather breathes a distinct character into daily life, affecting traditions, labor, and the very mood encased within these robust walls. Spring heralds renewal, an awakening as fields surrounding the castle burst into an emerald cloak. Transformation permeates every corner as the chill of winter releases its grip, replaced by a balmy floral scent carried through the courtyards. The castle bustles with activity, invigorated by spring's promise, the sowing of crops, the repairing of roofs beaten by snow, and markets swelling with newly gathered produce and budding herbs. You wander through gardens, witnessing how the earth conceals seeds that bear sustenance. Young hands eagerly assist experienced stewards, laboring shoulder to shoulder in plots cultivated with skill and seasoned instinct. Their work echoes both camaraderie and diligence, as each planted seed is a declaration of hope bound to the harvest's measure. As summer arrives, a hearty exhalation ripples through the castle. The fortress burgeons under long days and golden light, its courtyards and halls awash with vibrant energy. Sunlit gatherings occur in the open air, where troops of performers and troubadours add melody and mirth to balmy afternoons. You hear laughter mingling with the gentle notes of lutes and flutes, the seasons promising a higher level of connectivity through shared experiences of leisure and bounty. It's during this time that noble pursuits reach their zenith, tournaments unfold, falconry flourishes, and a sense of noble adventure spurs the bold to embark on quests, both real and romantic. The air shares in their zest for life, each slight breeze bearing an intoxicating whiff of hay, flowers, and distant bonfires, where stories are spun beneath moonlit skies. Yet autumn possesses its own allure, a season of introspection and preparation. Harvest festivals abound, flesh and foliage sweeping into shades of ochre and crimson, draping the landscape with a tapestry of vivid mortality. From wheat sheaves stacked like golden spires to bushels of apples stored in cold cellars, all yield the year's promise into tangible sustenance. It's here, in a temporary festival of abundance, that you grasp how life cycles through time, reminiscent of both celebration and reflection. The castle's kitchen buzzes with renewed urgency, transforming bounty into stored provisions fit to weather the impending chill. The cauldron's steam, billowing in intricate shapes reminiscent of the year's spiraling story. Winter descends as a solitary hush, enveloping ramparts rendered silent under blankets of snow. The days become short and nights grow long. A contemplative cadence settles throughout. Inside the castle, life finds refuge in the close warmth of hearths, where souls huddle under furs and fireside tales tease light from the corners of history. Despite its imposing cloak, winter's severity deepens the ties of community. Survival necessitates cooperation. Wood is chopped, supplies rationed, and shared tasks present an intrepid unity, bolstering spirits against the bleakness outside. Each breath crystallizes into vapor within the halls, like words carried from hearth to hearth, reflecting human endurance couched in shared resolve. Historians continue their discourse on the seasonal patterns that dominated medieval life, and whether these cycles enchanted or enslaved those who lived them. Regardless, life within the castle is plated into this endless rhythm, bearing testament to humanity's spirited endeavor to harmonize with nature's all-encompassing symphony. As snow melts on each rising dawn, revealing the green stubble of nascent life, the cycle arcs forward, undeterred, relentless tempo, both warmly familiar and filled with a perpetual wonder that echoes through stone and story. Gently guided onward by the rhythms of time, you venture deeper into the recesses of creativity and contemplation, world where alchemy reigns, flanked by promise and peril. In laboratories steeped with both fragrance and caution, uncover a realm where empirical curiosity wrestles with mystery, a plane where the very elixirs of transformation blend with humankind's eternal quest for knowledge. You leave behind the comforting cyclical rhythms of the seasons and step into a chamber that is at once both curious and mysterious, a medieval laboratory steeped in the secrets of alchemy and early chemistry. Here, the air is thick with the aroma of herbs and spices, mingling with the acrid bite of sulfur and an indefinable metallic tang. This is where the alchemist, toiling at the cusp of magic and science, conducts their enigmatic work, driven by an insatiable curiosity to unravel the universe's hidden truths. The laboratory itself is a cluttered haven of glassware and parchment, where retorts and alembics line tables alongside mortars and pestles. Shelves are crowded with vials, jars, and flasks, each filled with substances in states of flux, liquids shifting hues, powders glinting under the glimmer of candlelight, and solids merging to form unexplored compounds. The surroundings offer both solace and intrigue, every surface a potential repository of the nascent knowledge emerging as alchemists probe the veils of secrecy. At the heart of this enchanting chaos is the alchemist, an enigmatic figure shrouded in robes, their face half hidden by both the vapors swirling up from a bubbling cauldron and the layered mystery in their expression. This conjurer of substances is both scientist and seeker, an individual straddling the line between empirical study and esoteric tradition. One of the alchemist's primary pursuits lies in the art of transmutation, the age-old quest to transform base metals into gold. To closer eyes, it's not solely material enrichment that beckons, but the deeper philosophical journey toward purification and enlightenment, a metaphor of refining the soul itself. Apprentices flit about, engaging in the collection and preparation of ingredients, grinding herbs, and mixing solutions with meticulous care. Each task teaches more than just process. It embodies the transference of wisdom through practice, fostering both patience and an appreciation for discovery's nuances. It's whispered that alchemists hold the secrets of the philosopher's stone, a legendary substance said to grant eternal life or untold wealth. Whether mere allegory or an actual pursuit, the tale reveals humanity's eternal grappling with mortality, an attempt to elevate the human condition beyond the ephemeral. In the meantime, the alchemist's work engages numerous other objectives, developing medicinal compounds, creating pigments and dyes, and even concocting fragrant perfumes and cosmetics. Their practice transforms everyday materials into precious resources, a reflection of both pragmatic innovation and aspirational science. Historians still argue about the role of alchemists. Some view them as progenitors of modern chemistry, while others consider them as misled mystics, navigating a world of superstition. However, their inquiry into the transformation of matter undeniably paved paths that scientists would continue to explore in later centuries. In this chamber, theory and experimentation mesh, in imperfect harmonia testament to the quest for alchemical gold mirroring humanity's thirst for understanding and order in a chaotic universe. It's an echo of the human spirit's enduring love affair with what lies just beyond the known. As the candles flicker, casting alchemical shadows on the walls, the laboratory vibrates with the hum of potential either brilliance or calamity awaiting the alchemist's deft touch. It's easy to imagine, in this setting, how legends of Greek fire and elixirs of life evolved from real pursuits filled with both peril and promise. Having tasted the mystery and promise of alchemy, you emerge back into the corridor, feeling the thrum of discovery fading like a beloved dream. Your path now leads to a pursuit that combines the sophistication of skill with the simplicity of essential needs, a symphony of challenge and resourcefulness. The hunt. In the woods just beyond the castle's walls, join the company of noblemen and townsfolk eagerly following the call of the horn. Together, each hunter seeks more than just quarry. Their chase echoes the raw rhythms of the wild, a communion with nature that rewards both spirit and sustenance. Stepping out from the confines of the castle and into the wide expanse of the surrounding woodlands, you're greeted by the crisp morning air, carrying with it the earthy aroma of leaves and the sweet scent of pine. Here, on the periphery of civilization, the ritual of the hunt becomes a test of skill, endurance, and a bridge between worlds cultivated and wild. The day's hunt is a communal affair, assembling a colorful ensemble of nobles, seasoned huntsmen, and eager novices, each garbed in forest green tunics and sturdy boots. The camaraderie among this eclectic gathering is palpable, animated by both the thrill of pursuit and the promise of bounty. There's laughter and conversation shared over embers as huntsmen prepare their gear and check their bows, arrows, and snares, each tool holding the memory of lessons learned and quarry captured. Mounted on fine steeds, the nobility takes the lead, their presence gallant atop horses that nicker with excitement, eager for the chase. Horses' breaths mist in the cool air as they step proudly beneath riders clad in leather and velvet, their eyes glinting with anticipation. This is not solely sport, but a demonstration of control and mastery over the terrain, a heritage piece, less of conquest and more of rapport with nature's law. As the morning mist curls around roots and trunks, piercing notes from a hunting horn slice through the stillness, marking the hunt's commencement. The hounds surge forward, noses to the ground as they pick up the scent trail with fervor, adding an animal harmony to the symphony of thrumming hooves and the rustling of foliage underfoot. The hunt becomes a dance of movement, where each participant finds their place in the ancient rhythm of predator and prey. The hunt serves not only to secure meat for the table, but as a reaffirmation of social release, a theatre of prowess under sky and canopy. For the page boys and squires trailing behind, the hunt is an education in the stratagems of survival. Learning from the seasoned hunters, stories etched into scars and smiles, each wise eye a tapestry of successes and the rare yet sobering failures. Through dappled glades and tangled thickets, the hunt's energy surges, with eyes scanning the landscape for signs of deer, boar, or small game, each citing a potential tie between sustenance and skill. It's a balance of strategy and spontaneity, where instinctual decisions point the journey forward or back to the drawing board. For the nobility, the hunt also holds deeper symbolic significance. It links them to their forebears, a mechanism for bolstering agricultural and territorial rights, a defining keystone in their societal authority. As they move through shadow-carpeted trails, this ride through wilderness echoes decisions made in council halls and terraces, a badge of both privilege and responsibility worn against rushing winds. Curiously, one oft-regaled story entwined with the hunt is that of the Harter, symbol of vitality, commonly recorded as granting mystical encounters, appearing and vanishing like ephemeral whispers from a deeper lore. Such tales add layers to the hunt, defining experience in strands spun from real encounters and embellishments flavored by the campfire's glow. Historians still debate whether the hunt was primarily a test of agility or collective enterprise, with opinions colored by those who participated or merely observed. Nevertheless, It presents a clear tableau of medieval life's vibrant dynamics, a union of nature's dictate and humanity's ambition. As the sun climbs higher and hunger tugs at the group, the horns sound again, pausing the pursuit. Hunters regroup around a temporary camp, sharing stories over bread, cheese, and fruits, a repast flavored just as richly by camaraderie as by its ingredients. The finesse of the hunt lingers as both tactile skill and enriching traditional continuity through seasons braided tightly within castle and countryside. Whether trophies are taken or lessons learned, the day holds the value of time well spent, a shared experience polishing the spirit as much as medieval artisans craft a sword. With the echoes of the hunt fading into the forest, you are left in the quietude of post-adventure calm. This interlude becomes the stepping stone to more ignoble excursions, where the hunter becomes the hunted, and sieges lay siege to serenity. Feel the shadows gather as tales of defiance unravel intricately across stone towers and city gates in an age-old struggle of strategy and survival. As the whispers of the hunt recede into the tranquil woods, you turn your gaze back toward the looming walls of the castle, now preparing to delve into the formidable reality of a medieval siege. Here, tales of ingenuity and endurance unfold in stark contrast against threats that test the very fortitude of those residing within these stone bastions. The air is rife with tension, a crispness imbued with the distant murmur of approaching forces. The castle, once a symbol of invincibility and order, now stands in defiance against potential foes that mass at its gates, an ensemble of adversaries poised to stake their claim. Crows circle anxiously in the sky, as if sensing the drama about to unfold below, where architecture blends with strategy in an elaborate chessboard of dynamic human conflict. Inside the castle, the corridors buzz with activity, a hive of coordinated efforts transforming daily routines into a synchronized ballet of defense. The clang of armor and the clatter of ladders echo as knights and guards ready their positions, ensuring each arrow and sword is primed and each section of rampart guarded. The castle's parapets become a vantage point for archers, each armed with a keen eye and a quiver full of determination, statement of resilience perched upon stone shoulders. Within the heart of the fortress, the steward orchestrates the provisioning of resources, a task as critical as any sworn knight's duty. The siege is not solely a battle of arms, but of resources, where grain, water, and patience become as valuable as any fortress wall. Those who find themselves entrenched in such moments rediscover the balance of austerity and innovation, a delicate game of enduring spirits, either starving or forcing surrender. A glimpse beyond the battlements reveals the invaders, a sea of resolute faces and implements of war siege towers, towering ominously in the distance, catapults poised like eager sentries. The air thrums with the tension of readiness, every breath a shared anticipation of the inevitable clash. Time itself seems to halt, suspended between the draw of bowstrings and the alignment of ambitions poised to either claim or defend stone and pride. Ingeniously, defenders employ every mechanism at their disposal, from pouring boiling oils through murder holes to utilizing counterweighted trebuchets to repel the besiegers. The design and layout of the castle comes alive in the orchestration of defense, hidden passages, and trip arches serving both stealth and surprise. Each element crafted by a bygone architect now stands in keen resoluteness, facing an army at the gate. There exists a curious irony when beleaguered residents launch honey and beehives into invaders' ranks, a sticky, buzzing chaos, proving that defense knows no bounds, embracing creativity as much as combat. It's likely these moments inspired countless tales of courageous cunning and ensnaring wit long after horns of retreat sang out. Historians still debate whether sieges were more effective as tactical maneuvers or psychological gambits, each weighing the toll against gains, for all such assaults unfold in layers that alter societal fabrics just as sword-hollowed banners. Yet, as with all stories told upon a fortress stage, there lies a pivot between aggression and resolve, quiet resilience born from kinship or born from necessity that neither siege tower nor battering ram can shatter. As the siege unfolds, defenses hold steadfast, sleepless nights stretching into anxious days, anticipation balanced on a tenuous edge. It is a story of painstaking endurance, as much about those who hold within as the force that asseverates from without. When the muffled silence descends upon broken camps and the white flag considers release, the resolve of stone often miniaturizes the intent withstand, outlast, prevail. As night blankets the landscape once more, an unexpected peace settles like dust, the echoes of conflict quieted by the passage of time and the turning of fate. Completing this chapter brings into focus the intricate endurance of stone and spiritor, reflection of survival. Standing there, on the precipice of history's edge, the shadows flowing like water over a vast tableau, you prepare to reflect with the sun rising behind you. Guided by the poignant past, you seek to unravel the timeless truths amid stories unraveled, woven anew with each footfall upon the cobblestone path that binds us all. As the stories shared within these walls resonate softly, inviting you back, you step back into the collective memory where tales linger like time, echoing sweet reality. Finally, the castle's legacy unfolds through the continuum, bid you warmth and wander's dreams in fortitude's rosette. Prepare for tomorrow's eve, when time extends night's medieval molds, like centuries' sigh yielding requiem's hold. As harm's echoes fade with wisdom, gain the stronghold falls within our heart's embrace, tender and bold in timeless trace. The dawn creeps tenderly over the bastions of stone, its light casting long shadows that gently touch the memories etched into the castle's ancient walls. As the last echoes of siege fade into soft whispers of peace, you find yourself immersed in a reflective reverie journey through the ages, where the lessons within a stronghold's embrace unravel their final mysteries. In this calm, as day breaks, the castle offers a meditative space, one that holds within its stones countless stories, each block a testimony to human resilience, weaving a tapestry that is both stark and tender. You've traced paths through vibrant gardens, shadow-laden corridors, and lively halls, each moment among these age-old stones, an intricate blend of time and tradition. The castle, this bastion against time, stands not only as a military entity, but as a vibrant hub of life, a microcosm of medieval society, where politics, art, and industry intersect. Through its halls, you've walked among knights and nobles, artisans and alchemists, unraveling the complexity that defines this singular world. The echoes of laughter and conflict, the whispers of treaties, and the symphony of survival form an ambient melody-temporal notes, linked by the common threads of shared experience. You stand on the parapet, gazing beyond the wise stones that have borne witness to the waves of humanity. There's worldliness here, where nature's grandeur and mankind's creation brush interlaced fingers. It's a gentle reminder of both the continuity and change that address life along each crested sunrise. As the castle's vibrant hues begin to stretch in lengthening tones, let those dances of light caress you with the echoes of medieval diversity, bespeaking survival, prowess, and quiet reflections across its grandeur, as each visitor adds their own storied footprint to its pathways. And so, we take our leave, cherishing the brood candor that emerges where history meets now. Pause to savor the essence of how structures born of stone cradle emotions, diligence chiseled between loves committed upon starlit vigils. Let the lessons gleaned from this deep wood of history speak to you a tale of stability and transformation, whispered in brisk air, and step as surely into the arms of your world, adorned in newfound kinship with the ages over pasture and parapet alike. This castle, firm and unfaltering, reaches back into the timeline eternal, inviting you to rest within its languid calm, providing a retreat for fire-hearted souls, seeking the lifeblood that wends through narrative legacy. As evening with its comfort embraces your journey's fruition, may the hush of night cradle your treasure, won from time each moment within this erstwhile bastion, tempering light and dreams softly with treasures nurtured by stone and shadows interlacing bequeathal. So slumber gently and let these visions cradle a world matured through both stone and spirit a castle, where history and imagination walk hand in hand, guided by the moon's wise wandering. Sweet dreams.